Okay. I think it might be fixed. So,
Krona Kai Christor.
you have survived the wilds of our new home and shown yourself a cut above the others. I believe that you have come of age to assist those battling on the front lines of Bloodmist. The Hand of Argus could use a Draenei like you. Report to Torales and the pack handler. You will find them outside the Exodar, tending to Dialek. Give him these orders so that he may direct you towards your new duties on Bloodmist.
Dionis Aka.
So we will be holding off on doing that, since Bloodmist is basically the second area of the Draenei starter zone. I will be doing that, but not for... excuse me, not for a bit. Whatever. It's like, please. I'm Shadow now. You got no shot. No chance at all. Because now I've also got Mind Flay. And just wait till we get Shadow form. Woof. You know, I messed around in Classic to see the whole thing about Shadow Priest and what it was like. I had heard that Shadow Priest was good in Vanilla, but it was only good for about a minute. My man Preach Gaming, who mained a priest back in Vanilla, he was mainly a holy priest because they needed a holy priest to heal their raid on Horde side, and he talked about how Shadow was good for about a minute, and then they were so they were really bad when it came to raiding. However, they were apparently amazing at PvP. As he put it, in PvP, they were monsters. He talked about how on his main warrior, because he mained, in Vanilla, I believe he said he mained a priest, a warrior, and a rogue. And on his warrior, that he loved playing, he encountered a Shadow Priest, and it absolutely annihilated him. Like, he despite popping all his cooldowns and everything, he couldn't beat it. You know. The thing that they talked about for Shadow back in Vanilla was that all the spells and everything was so expensive. They cost so much mana. Of course, you guys remember the mana cost and such of what it was like to cast anything in Vanilla. You casted one spell, and you had to go AFK for a few seconds to get your mana back. That's what I heard them talk about, called the 5-second rule, which was you had to go AFK for 5 seconds to wait for your mana to refill before you could cast anything again. That just boggles my mind, that there are those who actually say that's a better way to play the game, that's better gameplay, and I can't understand that idea mentality. To say that play style of cast something, then go AFK for 5 seconds or so, cast something else, go AFK again. I cannot understand how that can be considered better gameplay than what we have today. Where I can, there are so many different things, to work on and figure out, and rotations and cooldowns. I like that. It gives me something to do. It's much more engaging gameplay, at least for me. I know that there are some that do like it, I get it, but man, it's like, I just cannot, and I made a Forsaken priest specifically to make it a Shadow, just, while messing around in the Forsaken Starter Zone, just to see what is Shadow Priest like. I've heard so much about it, what it was like in Vanilla. What's it like here in Classic? Got to about level 10, and I was like, okay, I get it. I saw the undead racial ability. He was a troll priest, which had, I've heard about the priest racials back in Vanilla. The crystal you found on the Night Stalker runt's body appears to be a piece of the Exodar. This may help explain the unusual appearance and demeanor of some of the animals in this region. Take the crystals back to Azure Watch. The Exarch will surely want to know about this discovery. I will say though, I mean, you compare how Shadow Priests were in vanilla compared to how they ended up being in Burning Crusade. I would highly recommend, if you want to know more about the priest and how it plays, especially historically, he did almost an hour-long video on the legacy of the priest class. Which he said was special to him because, of course, as I said, he mained a priest in vanilla. And then when we got to the Burning Crusade section, he talked about how the changes that happened, they made Shadow Priests incredibly strong. And it was mainly because of one specific ability. Let me see if I can show it here. This right here, Vampiric Touch. So, this obviously, this is not the same Vampiric Touch from back then. Vampiric Touch also used to return mana. So, basically back then, you would pair up Shadow Priest with a Holy Paladin, which, remember, Paladins were now added to the Horde in Burning Crusade. So, on either side, you had Shadow Priests and Holy Paladins, and all of a sudden you just had an amazing amount of healing, with mana coming back to both the Priests and the Paladins. Yeah. And he even showed, there were DPS meters that were starting to emerge, where it showed the Shadow Priests were at the top of the damage. And, and this was, early stuff before people started to figure out how strong Warlocks were. Especially Destro Warlocks in Burning Crusade. But my point is that if they ever come out with Burning Crusade servers where you could just jump right into the Burning Crusade content, one of the classes I would try out messing around with that is, of course, a Shadow Priest, because of how strong I heard that they were back then. Because I've always enjoyed the idea of the Shadow Priest spec. So now, I don't know what the voice sounds like for Furbolg, so that's why I'm just kind of doing my regular voice, just to help out with my voice. For centuries, we lived in relative peace with the creatures of the land. Several months ago, curs began to see dark omens. The peace that we enjoyed for so long was to be lost. The extent of the catastrophe could not be known, so it would be that the gods would shatter our land, turning both friend and foe against us. But there was something else. Amidst the chaos, a hero would rise. A hero not of Steelpine blood. The promised one would deliver us from devastation. That prophesied hero was you. And I guess now we're just going to head back. Since it seems that there is no more questing here yet. Oh, hold on. I spoke too soon. I looked at my minimap and saw this. Oh, wait, hold on. I am Murdo, Elder Hunter of Steelpine. My brother and I were hunting in the woods to the east when we were ambushed by strange insect-like beasts. Such aberrations have never before been seen in Azure Mist. Could they be a sign of the coming apocalypse? The apocalypse that you are destined to prevent? If you truly are the promised one, you will strike the creatures of the apocalypse down and bring me their hides. From their hides I can fashion armor of great power. Find them to the east, beyond the road. Murlocs, why here? Why now? These are dark days, promised one. Even the Murlocs are kicking our tails, literally. Unfortunately, more than just my ego has been bruised. While our relationship with the Siltfin Murlocs had always been tenuous, never could we have imagined that they would have the gall to attack us and steal from our food stores. Travel west to the silting shore and recover our stolen foodstuffs. And if you see a dark-skinned Murloc with a patch of white fur stuck in between his webbed toes, well, we're going to hold off on that, though. Silly human, where'd you learn how to drive this thing? I'm sorry, my lord. Again, like I said with the Blood Elves, I'd like to imagine the human is a peasant. Mainly because, of course, I just love doing that voice. You're the king? I didn't vote for you. I recently re-looked up some clips from that Monty Python movie. Oh my gosh. Especially when I saw someone post about that moment in Cult Tiras and BFA where they are in Drustvar, where they're accusing Lady Waycrest, Lucille Waycrest, of witchcraft. And I just immediately thought, I started joking that this was like the witch scene from Monty Python. We found a witch, may we burn her? And what makes you think she's a witch? She looks like one. She turned me into a newt. I got better. And people we started just kind of laughing about it, posting reactions and lines and gifs. It was so funny.
Each day is a blessing.
The buck hides are rugged and strong, making for very tough flesh, almost inedible, but we can use them for other purposes. Wonderful, you are turning into quite the hunter, Miala. How would you like to look more like me? Well, here is your chance. While you were out hunting, I fashioned these items out of some buck hides that I had laying around. Take your pick. You're offering me one choice.
May your days be long, and your hardships few.
Not much of a choice there, pal. I'll talk to the Exarch before I talk to that alchemy guy.
Arcanon Poros.
Found what? Where? How did such a thing end up in the stomach of a Night Stalker? Could the debris from the crash have contaminated more beasts? I am not going to make any excuses for what you have found. This is clearly our fault. We had gotten reports of crushed crystal fragments showing up in the river to the east, but chose to ignore the implications. Now we can either sit around on this island and cry about the tragedy that has befallen this land, or we can do something about it and prevent it from spreading. If you have got the stomach for it, I want you to go back into the wilds and kill as many of the infected Night Stalkers as you can find.
Remain vigilant.
Again, I just want to, really emphasize, I love the fact that so many of these are the Draenei feel bad about the damage to the environment and the wildlife, from their crash. That's their first priority, basically, to doing their stuff. Oh, they're doing that. Hold on. I'm waiting for him to walk over to talk to him, since that's supposed to be the next quest he gets. I'm seeing several, players here, making fresh new Draenei for whatever the reason is. I'm guessing maybe he went AFK or something.
Arcanon Poros.
Watch as the plant works its magic.
Safe journey.
This should do it. Alright, this is what I wanted you guys to pay attention to. Wake up, little creature. Wake up from your slumber. You are safe now. Where am I? What is this place? By the light of a loon! Eridar! Cursed demons, what have you done to me? I have not come alone. We will fight you as we have in the past. Minari? But how? We are not Eridar. She must know. If there are others like her, then we must find them and explain. So, yeah, she fell back into a coma. So, yeah, remember, the Night Elves are very familiar with the Eridar because of the Burning Legion. Remember, the Night Elves were one of the big reasons why the Burning Legion was fought off all those years ago. So, of course, the Night Elves would mistake seeing the Draenei and think that they are still part of the Eridar. Now, technically, they are Eridar. That's what their race actually is called. But these are, she doesn't know about the Draenei. She just thinks that they're all the Eridar. But, that's part of the revelation of the story. Because, this is the kind of thing that gets back to the Alliance about the Draenei. and how it all kind of ties in when they go back to joining the Alliance and such later on.
Warm wishes to you.
The Prophecy of Velen. The prophet spoke of this day, that on this island, in this new world, our allies would find us. We will be tested. They will ask that we pay for the sins of our fathers. At the time, I did not understand the meaning behind his words, but seeing this creature and her reaction to us, it is now coming into focus. The corruption of our people has been felt even here. Venture south. It is there that we found this being. Find its kin, and tell them of our people.
Be well.
So, again, we are now gonna, this moment here has caused the Draenei to realize, oh, the Burning Legion has been here. Our kin, the Eridar, they've been here. So these people here know about them. Because they didn't know that this place knows about the Burning Legion and the Eridar. Now they've realized this place has actually had contact with that. And now we're being sent down to an area where this Night Elf is part of a group of Alliance. And this is going to be basically the Draenei's diplomatic connections and establishment to the Alliance. Like this kind of, you could almost consider it a chance encounter. In fact, let's just go ahead and go down there. That's what I get for hitting my auto run and not really paying attention where I'm going. Let's go ahead and go down there because I want to show this to you guys. I really want to emphasize this, that this is it's almost by chance, almost that this, that it ends up having this course happen where the Draenei come into contact and relations with people from the Alliance, which then has feedback sent back to the leadership of the Alliance. I'm hoping the other players here are not going to kind of interfere with the dialogue here. I hope not. So you can see there's a priestess here. Adamant, could you please take a look? Oh, hold on. I really hope this is not from something else. I'm trying to avoid, stuff that, I have a feeling that might be from another quest. I'm not entirely sure. There's also a little banter here between the Admiral and the cook here that I want to catch just because it's hilarious. And I want to also emphasize that this is an Admiral. This is an Admiral of the Alliance Navy. This is a high-ranking Admiral. This is also a priestess of Elune. These are important people within the Alliance, is what I'm saying. And they are now coming into contact with Draenei. And these interactions are going to have a very strong effect on whether or not, on the Draenei ending up joining the Alliance.
King's honor, friend.
You say that you have found one of our crew and that she's injured? I will send one of my crewmen to your village immediately.
Light bless you.
I am Admiral Odysseus of Alliance Naval Command. Our ship was forced to port on your island due to an infestation of sorts. It's embarrassing to even talk about, but goblins somehow managed to stow away in the holds of both of my ships. Last night, while most of the ship's crew was asleep below deck, they struck. Stranger still, they took our navigation gear and jumped ship. They disappear into the thicket east of here. Will you go in search of our gear? It will make for a strong gesture.
Go with honor, friend.
How are you?
Wait, hold on.
Safe travels.
Avast ye matey, Cookie is me name, cooking is me game. The McWeaksauce bloodline may be a long line of cooks and tradesmen that work to please the more delicate senses of man and woman. The Admiral may be right, ye may be a resourceful one. Mayhap ye could help Cookie out. If I serve the crew chicken for dinner again, I'll be sent to the brig for sure. I notice that there be crawlers all along the coastline. Lots of crawlers. Bring me crawler meats and I'll be forever indebted to ye. Help a reformed pirate out?
Have a good one.
I really want to catch the little banter and dialogue here between these two. It's really funny. I think I just have to wait a bit. I'm worried that the other players that were here kind of interfered with that. Oh gosh, I really wouldn't want this to trigger. You know what I think I might do? Gosh. Hold on. I abandoned those because I'm wondering if that possibly takes the banter away, because I really want to do that. Of course, people are also coming to Cookie to get cooking training, since he's a cooking trainer. I went, you can see the the icons at the bottom. I just went to the Exodar because the cooking trainer is like right next to the Flight Master. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Hey, Cookie, what's for dinner tonight? And don't say chicken. Yar, Admiral, let me think about it. It'd be coming into focus. It looks like it'd be succulent pork ribs basted with its own delectable juices and a side of Captain Sanders' secret sauce for dipping. And for dessert, we'd be having cheesecake flown in fresh from Stormwind on the wings of angels. Wow, really? No, not really. It'd be chicken. I hate you so much, Cookie. So this also plays into something else that, in regards to what I was talking about how the Draenei establish good, positive diplomatic relations alongside the Alliance. These people have been at sea, and they basically have had nothing to eat except chicken. That's it. Now, how many of you out there love chicken? I'll raise my hand on this. I love chicken. But imagine you had to have chicken for every meal, 3 times a day, every day. How long do you think it would be before you got so tired of it, you'd be begging to have something else to eat? That's kind of where they're at now. They are so sick of having just nothing but chicken. They're desperate for something else. So I'm gonna quickly pick these quests back up. Because as you saw with that quest there, we're basically on our way to try and acquire some extra food. Now, I personally am not, don't like seafood. So if you asked me if I wanted to eat crab, I'd be like, no, thank you. But one, these are people who've been at sea. They're sea people. Some of these guys, like the Admiral, he's a Navyman. So I'm sure seafood is nothing new to him. I'm sure he's completely fine with seafood. So I'm sure being told, hey, guess what? Instead of chicken, you're gonna have crab, or lobster, something like that. I'm sure he would be ecstatic to hear that. So, the idea, that we're able to help provide the cook with more provisions, such as crab, or lobster, or or fish, something else other than chicken, that goes a long way. And it kind of goes, and it goes back to something that, some people perhaps forget when it comes to establishing strong diplomatic relations with someone that you've just recently met and such. A gnome. Engineer Spark Overgrind. Envoy of Mechatork. Interesting. Anyways, So, like, imagine that, you know, what's something that is considered like a universal language, you know, that people, like, almost anyone can understand or recognize or be able to relate to. Food. So, imagine you come into contact with a brand new group. You don't know anything about them, but you want to try and establish, but you have nothing against them, and you want to establish good relations with them. So what's something that you do?
Have a target.
You offer them something that you think they might enjoy, such as food. Now, you don't know if it's the kind of food that they can, you know, if they can eat or that they would like, but you at least want to offer it. Because one, they may like it, and two, you don't know if they've had anything else to eat any length of time. And imagine that they have had nothing to eat, and all of a sudden you show up. They don't know anything about you, but you offer them, but they offer you food. Imagine how much more receptive that makes. That's the situation we're dealing with here when it comes to the Draenei and the Alliance. These people in the Alliance have had basically hardly anything to eat other than one thing that they've been able to kind of scrounge up together, and they come into contact with this brand new race they've never seen on Azeroth, and they give them food. It's not hard to understand at all how the Draenei and the Alliance came into very positive diplomatic relations with each other. Because our character here offered them some tasty food that they had not had in quite some time. Really? Silly goblins. So not only do we get them food for the cook to make for them, but we also recover a couple of important pieces of equipment for them, especially with him being an admiral. We get, the compass and the map, for, their purposes at sea. That's a big deal. Especially if they want to get back on their ships and get back to sea, you have to have a map and especially a compass to be able to help navigate yourselves at sea. I mean, it's still possible, but it's not necessarily the best of ideas. It certainly makes this guy's job easier.
Greetings.
Oh, you're a resourceful one. With our navigation gear, we can figure out just how far we have veered off course. But wait, what's this? There's something rolled up in the map. Let me see. These are orders from Mogul Razordunk of the Venture Company. According to these plans, they're here to strip mine the island of the crystal wreckage, and then hijack our ships once they're finished. By Bronzebeard's bushy brow, this is why they force us to land? How could they know of our plans? I smell a traitor. I've wondered about this for some time now, but this proves it to be true. There is a traitor among us. The plans left behind by the goblins document the conspiracy. Since I don't know who it could be, I'm going to need your help in finding the traitor. None of my crew can be trusted, so if this is going to work, I'm going to need a hollowed-out tree and leaves. Search near the loggers north of us for the tree, and you'll need to find the leaves by yourself. Check the forest.
Be careful.
I'll speak with the priestess in a moment. Right now, let's give this guy the crab.
What can I do for you?
I like this called Cookie's Jumbo Gumbo. That he's actually going to try and make some gumbo from this, rather than just straight up like crab or crab legs. Shivering Timbers, sorry lass, I gotta practice me pirate lest I forget it. He's a reformed pirate, but he's like, look, I gotta practice being one. Ah, bless your heart, stranger. This'll go a long way in lifting the morale of the crew. Indeed it will. Stores health. 1 stamina for 15 minutes. One of those well-fed foods.
See you later.
That's kind of hilarious, since we haven't done 100 quests yet so far with this character. So, here we go. I already have a few other foods here that give me that bonus. In fact, why don't we just go ahead and enjoy some of this gumbo that he just made. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And now we get the well-fed effect. Of course, later on, you can get the one that lasts for an entire hour when you get to max level.
Peace be with you.
While some may look at our current predicament as an unfortunate turn of events, I sense that we are here for a reason. The invisible hand of fate has pushed us in this direction. The reason why will become evident in time. And to the west lies an ancient night elf city, now in ruin and overrun with Naga. It would be remiss of me to sit idly by as the Naga tainted my ancestral lands. You have shown yourself a capable priest. Honor my people and cleanse the ruins of their unwelcome inhabitants.
Goddess watch over you.
Oh, priestess, if only you knew what the Naga really
What's
were.
on your mind?
The priestess tells me that the ruins to the west are what's left of a night of civilization. And that got me thinking about what my papa used to always say about night of ruins. Sonny, whenever you see a night of ruins, night elf relics are sure to be close by. Now, what kind of a dwarf would I be if I didn't hire the first person that I saw to go digging up night elf relics for me? Now go get going.
Watch your back.
But I haven't even trained in archaeology. I've heard stories about what it was like for people trying to level archaeology, especially trying to farm certain things that you could only get in archaeology. Like, there is a mount that you can get that is, like, only possible if you use archaeology in places like Ungoro Crater. I am one of those players who has hardly messed around at all when it comes to professions. Partly because no one ever really taught me about how to properly do it. I had to learn how to play this game all by myself. I had no one helping me whatsoever. It wasn't until later that some people kind of like somewhat helped me out in terms of answering certain things, but to this day there are still some things that I haven't properly learned, mainly because I had to learn everything on the fly all by myself in this game, and that was an experience that I wouldn't necessarily want anyone else to have to go through. That's why I always try, whenever I see new players or find new players who are like just joining the game or have returned to the game and are trying to learn certain things or ask questions, I try to then be the player that I wish I had back then. The kind who's like, here, let me help you. Let me tell you, inform you about some things that are going to help you out or make your experience better, I've got a plant. That's actually gonna... Yeah, let's go ahead and turn this in.
Light be with you.
I love it when a plan comes together. I must warn you that what I ask of you next is going to be dangerous. I will not think any less of you if you decide not to help me out, Miala. According to the plans, the traitor and the leader of the goblins, Giesel, are to meet at a cove on the western island. I need you to be at that meeting. Remember the tree that in the leaves? Well, you're going to wear them. It's a perfect disguise. Go in the cove and look for a Naga flag, and if the flag is there, it means that a meeting is planned. Use the disguise kit when you see the flag, and wait. Eventually, the traitor will show up. Let the meeting finish, and then return to me with the identity of the scoundrel.
Light bless you.
Okay. Now, this could... Okay, so it's all the way over here. But that's fine. Obviously, we have some other things to do. Allied race! Sorry. I'm sorry. Look, I would also roll a Naga. how many people have you heard talk about how there, list off all the different races in this game that we can't play that we wish could play? That we wish that we could play.
I need to get closer.
And what's silly is, that it almost feels like, why does it have to have a reason for either any of them to join one of the factions? Why do they have to join a faction? Why can't they just be available for us to play regardless of the faction?
I can't carry any more of
It
those.
gets so annoying. You cannot make out any of the symbols on the tablet. Perhaps the priestess would be able to decipher the mysterious runes. But it's like, the idea is that we can't play Naga unless Blizzard can come up with some kind of in-lore reason for them to join either the Horde or the Alliance. And I'm like, there are lots of players that, that just want to play a Naga. They don't care if they join the Alliance or the Horde. They just want to play a Naga. Same with other races in this game. Ogres, Murlocs, plenty of races that you could name off.
It's too far away.
They're not asking that they have to join one of the factions. They just want to play the race. I mean, if Blizz can come up with some kind of interesting in-lore reason for them to join, okay, fine. But at the same time, it's like, this is why many of us have been asking, enough with the faction stuff. Enough with the Horde and the Alliance stuff. Let us just either have another faction, like a neutral faction that we can play these races on, or just get rid of it altogether. Just, and people are like, oh, that would destroy World PvP. No, it wouldn't, because there are plenty of other different creative ways that you can do to make it where you can still have World PvP without being restricted by the faction stuff. Like rogue members of the, that still want to face members of the, that were part of that faction. It happens all, in fiction, that happens all the time, and it would make perfect sense, and an in-lore reason as to why that would happen. For PvP to still be a thing. Even if in the story and the lore, the whole thing with the factions just kind of goes away. Because they finally grow brains and decide, let's stop fighting each other when we have all these other gigantic threats that we have to deal with.
It's too far away.
For goodness sakes. We're about to head into the Shadowlands. And we've had this whole thing where we had this whole huge war in BFA, and we're finally going to be at peace. And it's about time. We're finally going to be at peace. And it almost feels like they're still going to come up with a way for the factions to be, to fight each other, despite what we're going to be dealing with. And it's just, I'm going to just groan and roll my eyes, and when that happens. Like,
I need to get closer.
Like, they are that desperate to appeal to the PvP people that they're just gonna pull this reason out of their butt to get, as to why the factions are fighting each other again. Just come on, enough already. Enough is enough. It was stupid back in Wrath when you had them fighting each other back at in Icecrown Citadel. And it's still stupid now. It's like, I'm one of those has really warmed up to the idea that the factions unite and work as one, considering all these other threats. These huge, gigantic threats that we are constantly having to face that are basically threatening to destroy all of us. Not to mention that, to destroy our planet. It's like, why are we fighting each other when the Burning Legion is here? Why are you fighting each other? That's stupid. The Burning Legion's here. They're gonna wipe out everything. They're not, and you're still fighting each other. Are you really that stupid? That's why that's why Stormheim was my absolute least favorite zone in all of Legion. I hated Stormheim. Just because it was always a constant reminder about what was going on with, the stuff with Greymane and Sylvanas. Not to mention I also hated the stuff with not necessarily Javi. Javi was cool. But remember, Javi is Odin. So it was kind of like, okay. people got so excited when they had the announcement in the Shadowlands video talking about the gameplay features, that when it revealed choose a covenant, people thought that meant, oh my gosh, they're finally going to get rid of the factions. Anybody can play with anyone now. And then we asked them at the panel, and they were like, nope. We still believe that the Horde versus the Alliance is a key, integral part to what makes Warcraft Warcraft. I thought that was one of the stupidest things I've ever heard them say. It's like the members at Blizzard who say that Warcraft is all about orcs versus humans. I just want to smack them in the face. Like, are you really that idiotic? Dude, what are you doing? Why are you running? Just because I tagged it doesn't mean you can't get credit for it, man. Come on. Well, there are some players that they don't want to share credit for stuff. They just want to do things all by themselves. And I'm like, I was like trying to bring it to him, be like, look, I'm bringing it to you for you to get credit as well. We can both get credit. Nope. He just wants credit all to himself. Forget sharing. Sharing is stupid. It's all about me. Why would I share credit with another player when I can get all the credit for myself? That sounded bad, but that's how it seemed when he was just blatantly just running away from the enemy, that, you know, that he was just about to attack, and then when he saw that I had put a dot on it, which doesn't take away credit from him because we're both, you know, Alliance, he just blatantly ignored it. It just seemed like he didn't want to share credit whatsoever. He just wanted it all for himself. That's not how it works anymore. If you want it to work that way, why are you playing here? Why aren't you playing in Classic where that is the case? All right, shadow form. Behold. Yes. I am one with the void. I will say, it was like when I was messing around with my my undead shadow priest in Classic, and I was like in Undercity, and I was like, keep in mind that character, I think the highest I got that character was like level 11. I was basically just going through the 1 through 10 experience and trying to get to level 10 so I could see what is the undead priest specific content at level 10, because basically every class has something class specific at level 10, some kind of quest or something to get. You know, like how Warlock's level 10, you can finally get your Void Walker, which was a really cool quest. That was like, oh yes, that's awesome. So I was curious what the priest one was. And I had read up that the best, if you want to play a shadow priest in vanilla, the best one was basically the undead, partly because of their racial ability, which was basically really a really good racial ability for shadow priests. So basically the consensus was, if you're going to do like PvE stuff or even PvP, an undead priest is the best choice to go. And I was there in Undercity, and I saw a high-level undead shadow priest walk by, and he was in shadow form. And I was like, oh, wow. You know, it's just one of those ones where you're like, oh, man, look at that. You know, even in, like, the vanilla graphics and such, it actually did look pretty cool. And it looked at, like, how long you have to wait before you actually got it. I think you had to get to, like, level 40 before you could actually unlock shadow form. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I would have to, like, really, and, you know, and you have to spend a lot of talent points and, you know, obviously some currency in order to actually, you know, acquire it, and, yeah. I may return to it someday, but I am in no rush or hurry with, you know, and have no motivation to go back and do all that stuff that's required in Classic to play. It's not my thing. Like I said, you know, I kept telling people the term I would use when it came to actually playing Classic was I want to mess around with it, not necessarily play it, because there's no way I would commit to playing that. Absolutely not. If I committed to playing Classic all the time, I'd be exhausted mentally. It would just drain me like crazy. I remember there were times I would log off of Classic and I would just feel tired. Not physically, but mentally. It was just like, oh my gosh. And I hated that. I've never once felt that way, having fun here in retail WoW. It's never made me feel exhausted. The only time I feel that way is if I'm doing some high-level stuff like Mythic Plus Keys. Or like the other night when I was helping my guild with Raid Knight in Nyalotha, Heroic Nyalotha. And that was like, oh man. That required focus. I was like very intensely focused. Okay, there's the flag. Behold! It's not just a tree, it's a shadow tree. It's a tree in shadow form. And then the other player comes up as a regular tree. This is great. He basically followed my lead, trying to figure out what was going on, and he saw me do it, and he was like, oh, that's what I need to do.
What's the big idea, Spark? Why'd you call for this meeting? What's the big idea? You nearly blew my cover, idiot. I told you to put the compass and the navigation map somewhere safe, not out in the open. Open for any fool to discover. The Master has gone to great lengths to secure information about the whereabouts of the Exodar. You could have blown the entire operation, including the cover of our spy on the inside. Spark, I have it all under control. We'll strip my the Exodar right out from under him, making both of you and I very, very rich in the process. Relax. Do you know what Kael'thas does to those that fail him, Giesel? Eternal suffering and pain. Do not screw this up, fool. Our bloodless scouts have located our contact, the fool. Oh. Our bloodless scouts have located our contact. That fool Velen will soon leave himself open and defenseless, long enough for us to strike. Now get out of my sight before I vaporize you. Yes, sir. It won't happen again.
So, it was the gnome that was the traitor. The trifling gnome. Your arrogance will be your undoing. I couldn't help myself. You know what? While we're here, let's go check in on this missing fisherman. I'm kind of glad I was able to help out that player figure out what he was supposed to do. Like, it seemed like he didn't know where he was supposed to go or what he was supposed to do, and then he saw me, and he was like, oh, that's right, where I need to go and what to do. A few isles here, when I think about it. Azure Mist Isle, Silver Mist Isle, and Blood Mist Isle. Hello, Calvin.
Allah.
What could I have done to give the gods cause to lash out at me with such ferocity? All that I cherished is gone, dead or destroyed. My family taken from me by the brutes of the forest, my home razed, my ship sunk. I'm a broken man, stranded on a broken island. Perhaps you're here to finish the job? Make it quick. I will not resist. Take my life, stranger. I'm too cowardly to do it myself. My hand shivers. The blade will not strike true. I've not come to kill you, Night Elf, and the gods did not do this. If not the gods, then who? How? What could cause such strife? I fear that my people are somewhat responsible for this destruction. We are refugees, displaced from our homes by the Burning Legion. This tragedy is a result of our latest evacuation. Our vessel crashed. This debris is part of that vessel. Legion? Demons? They hunt you? My people have also been hunted by the Legion, targeted by their dark masters for damnation. It is the reason that I moved my family here oh so many years ago. We have much in common, Night Elf. I can't help but feel that perhaps it was fate that brought us together. Let me help you, Cowlin. Let my people help. We will right the wrongs. This I vow.
Good luck, friend. Elune be with you.
My family, what have I done? What could I have done? Why must I be punished so? We had lived peacefully among the owl beasts of the island for many years. You can imagine my surprise when they stormed the beach and attacked us. I fought tooth and nail, but was easily overpowered. As I blacked out from the vicious blows that I had been dealt, I prayed that my family would not suffer. When I awoke, all was quiet. The sand was soaked red with blood. Their blood. They were devoured whole. I care not for vengeance, Miala. I only ask that their remains be returned to me for proper burial.
Goddess, watch over you.
Oh my gosh, that is so sad. That is so horrible. I cannot even imagine what that would be like. You wake up and you find... Gosh, it's so horrible. It's hard to even talk about it. It's like... Stupid moonkin.
Inventory is full. I can't carry any more.
My inventory is full. This is a very this is something I don't usually encounter. Ugh. Whatever. Destroy. Remember, once we're done with these starting zones, we're deleting these characters, so it doesn't matter. Now, if I was level 20 and could pull out my yak mount, I could just, you know, be able to just sell this stuff, but honestly, whatever. I don't care. Yeah, by the way, I've always been one of those who just hates the
Far away.
boonkin form, this big fat owl chicken thing. As soon as I get the chance, my druids, if they don't have a unique version of it, like the Zandalari Troll or the Coltirans, I glyph it very quickly. Like, the Astral one is so cool looking. That's what my Tor uses. He doesn't use this boomkin thing and look horrible and ugly. Sorry. Okay, I take that back. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. I just think they look horrible. I don't like how they look at all. I know there are some that love the Moonkin, absolutely love it, but I can't stand it. I see this and I just go, ugh.
I need a target.
When I learned about glyphs and learned that you could glyph over that and change it to something else, I did that so fast on my main druid. And I will do that on some of my other druids. I won't have to do that on my Zandalari Troll because it actually looks kind of awesome. The Coltiran one, that's a little different, but... There's the remains of his family. Bones. That's all that's left of his family. Bones. I feel so much for this man. That's such a horrible tragedy. I cannot even put into words to describe how horrible that is. And this was basically caused by the Draenei arriving here on the Exodar.
Can I assist you?
My wife was named Thalrissa, and my daughter, Magwyn. Thank you, Nyala. Their spirits will be at peace now.
May the stars guide you.
Goodbye, Colin. I'm surprised that it's showing that instead of this over here. Alright, so we're now approaching an hour, so we're gonna go turn these in, and then we are gonna call it. Hello. You know what would make this little portion here better? If we were druids and had aquatic form. But that's also why it's great to make a Draenei shaman, because then you get water walking. Boom! You could also make a Draenei Death Knight if you wanted, and get that ice walking. Of course, it doesn't matter here, because obviously you wouldn't be here if you're a Draenei Death Knight. You know what I found the idea of interesting? A light-forged Draenei Death Knight. The idea of that, to me, was just kind of like, you know, because it's almost hard for me to not picture, my Lightforged Draenei is a paladin, because to me it just makes perfect sense. Of course she's a paladin. But the idea that if you made a Lightforged Draenei paladin, or not a paladin, a Lightforged Death Knight, that, let's say, that gave you extra light abilities, like as if you were able. I love this. This is one of the things I did with my night elf hunter that I have, which is I had the tiger for the pet, I had my little tiger battle pet, and then I had my white tiger mount. So I had 3 white tigers. Now he's gone the Beastmaster route where he can have a second pet, and you could do that. However, my night elf hunter is a marksman. So. Why is it highlighting this? I'm going to ignore the way the map is right now, because it should be having an icon back over here where the priestess is. But I just, because we know it's a thing in lore. One of the members of the 4 horsemen, I can actually be able to show this to you. In Noxramas, one of the 4 horsemen. Not Rivendare. This guy. Sir Zeliek. He is a paladin. Yes, he is a Death Knight who can wield the powers of a paladin. This is a thing in lore. I mean, yes. Let us do that. That's what I was thinking. It's like, oh, we can actually have both Death Knight and Paladin powers. Yes. Yes, please.
What brings you here?
Now, what?
Go in peace.
I am so confused. I guess I actually had to still get it to drop from one of these over here, even though I thought I had already gotten it. Oh, wait, is it because... Oh, no. Did I just realized. You remember when I cleared my bags earlier? I'm just realizing now what I did. I actually deleted the tablet that I had gotten for this quest by accident. I was so, just like, yeah, whatever, I'm just clearing out everything, it doesn't matter. I didn't even realize I had deleted a quest item. Derp. I'm an idiot. Derpy derp derp to me. I'm sure some of you saw that and went, no! Yep, I accept it. I accept full responsibility. Not bad. I can't believe I did that. Well, back to it then.
I'm out of range.
What Shadow Priest can do, which is dot, dot, dot. It's like, what? What I like is this is one thing about, Shadow Priest I wish you know, they got good single target damage, but until later, you don't really get much AoE damage. And I'm pretty big on AoE damage because of, you know, stuff like that, where I get mobs together and I can just do something to just hurt all of them. Some things I like about the Demon Hunter is the amount of AoE damage. I love it. I'm very big on AoE damage. It's something I absolutely love.
I need to get closer.
Gosh, how long is it going to take for this to drop again? I cannot believe that I did that. I feel so stupid that I actually deleted the tablet by mistake.
It's too far away.
Oh well. There is one thing I'm getting out of this by having to do this again. That's the XP for killing all these guys, which means we're going to level faster, which means that I will be able to use my yak mount to be able to actually sell stuff. I'll also be able to transmog a bit, though obviously I would need some currency to do that. And I'm so used to being able to send some of these low-level characters some currency from my high-level characters just to make it easier in that regard. Because, of course, I do, you know, care about making my characters look good. I went for a long time without being able, even really learning about what transmog actually was. For the longest time, I never even knew about transmog in this game. And my characters just looked how, you know, how they were when it came to their gear. And my character, my main shaman, for the longest time, looked terrible. He had the crappiest stuff on, and I didn't know anything about being able to change the appearance. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm going to spare you guys. I'm going to cut this off now. I'm going to try and do this off camera. And when we